Welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and I am thrilled to have you join me on this transformative journey. You see, every day we dive into a powerful conversation about self-discovery, healing, and empowerment. This podcast is brought to you by Ask Nyomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery, where we believe that loving yourself is the first step to living a fulfilling life. You can expect insightful discussions, practical tips, and inspiring stories. Plus, we'll occasionally welcome special guests who will share their unique perspectives on self-love and personal growth. So get comfy, grab your favorite beverage, and let's embark on this journey together. Because it's time to embrace the beautiful person that you are. So let's elevate our lives one episode at a time. Now let's get started. All right, my beautiful people. Well, welcome back to another soul-nourishing episode here on the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and I am truly honored to have you here with me today. Now, as part of our August series, we've been leaning into emotional resilience and what it truly means to rebuild from the inside out. Well, today's conversation is one that I've been especially excited to share because we're talking about building inner strength. And not just surviving, but transforming and choosing grace as the foundation of our healing journey. Joining me is someone whose work and mission truly align with the spirit of the year of the rebirth. He's a nurse practitioner, a founder of Renew Health, and the host of an upcoming podcast, Beyond Limits. And his name is Trent Carter. But before we bring Trent Carter to the stage, let's take a quick break, all right? It's your girl, the goddess, Nyomi Banks, here on the Season of Self-Love podcast, and we'll be right back.
Washington Wellness Institute focuses on healing always. For me, if I look good, then I feel good. If I feel good, then I share the good. If I share the good, then I celebrate the good. If I celebrate the good, then I live the good. So I can be paid to be my greatest. But I have to learn the good to be the good.
So, what does it take to be the greatest? It's as simple as a free 15-minute consultation. Be kind to yourself and heal always.
Hey, it's your girl, the goddess, Nyomi Banks, and make sure you tune in every Thursday night to Ask Nyomi Bridging the Gap podcast, where we talk about everything from love, sex, relationship, cultural differences, and so much more. By bridging the gap between them all, and we even talk about spiritual uplifting. You need to stop by me and Dr. Mike, as well as the BTG crew. We have some amazing guests that come through. You never know. Just make sure you tune in Thursday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Go to xnyomi.com and tell them Nyomi sent you. All right, my beautiful people. Well, welcome back here to Wisdom Wednesday here on the Season of Self-Love podcast. Well, today I have an amazing guest. He's a nurse practitioner. He's a founder of Renew Health, and he's a host of the upcoming podcast, Beyond Limits. Please welcome Trent Carter to the show. Hey, Trent, how are you?
I am doing fantastic. Good morning, and thank you so much for having me.
Great. I am truly excited about this conversation because I'm going through explant journey. And this is in truly even understanding what that journey means and even deciding to have an explant and remove my implants out. It was really coming from an inside out type of feel of a healing from the inside out of it. So I think the conversation that we're going to have today is truly going to be amazing, not only for myself, but for other listeners out there. But before we get into it, we do a nice guided meditation before we get into the topic at hand. All right. All right, listeners. So you know what we do. You know, if you could just get comfortable right now in this moment and close your eyes if you are comfortable to do so. All right, take a deep breath in and exhale slowly, releasing any tension in your body. Now I want you to visualize a strong, steady light within you. It's anchored in passion, resilience, and hope. Now, in your next breathing, I want you to breathe in support and breathe out doubt. With each breath, I want you to feel your inner strength awakening, quietly reminding you that healing and transformation are always within reach. Now take one last deep breath in. And when you are ready, gently open your eyes. Again, my beautiful people, if you are new here to the Season of Self-Love podcast, it's something we do every day, Monday through Friday, again, just to get us grounded for our next topic. Well, Trent, thank you so much again for just being here with us. You know, I love to begin by hearing a bit about your story. I mean, what you brought from Boyd, Texas, into the world of trauma neurology and ultimately building Renew Health with such a healing focused mission.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. So, yeah, I grew up in Boyd, Texas, small town. Went to school for my undergrad at Texas Tech University in Lubbock, Texas, and graduated, became a registered nurse. So I went straight into ICU. I worked trauma ICU, neurology ICU. I worked a bunch of different ICUs. Went to travel nursing, so got to travel the country a little bit doing that, and then came back to Fort Worth, Texas, and worked as a nurse there for a few more years, and then went back to school, which is when I became a nurse practitioner. And so during school as a nurse practitioner, I was doing clinical rotations with a family practice doctor. He owned a private practice, and he had just a few patients that he treated for opioid abuse, opioid addiction. And so that's really where I got exposure to this type of patient, the treatment that was around it. You know, he didn't do a fantastic job for them because it's not what he specialized in, but he was helping them nonetheless. And I could see those transformations take place. And so that's really where I got my first exposure to that. And then you could fast forward a few years and I started Renew Health. Really not even a few years, about a year and a half after that, probably, I started Renew Health. And that's what we focus on. We focus on substance abuse, mental health. We're here in New Mexico. And now we've been going for about 3.5 years. We're going on 4 years. And our trajectory is just incredible. We're opening new locations. We serve the entire state through telehealth. And at this point, we've helped thousands of patients. And, you know, I'm even trying to broaden my reach beyond New Mexico because recently I published my first book. I released the Recovery Tool Belt, which is all about that. And if you want, we could get into it today. I would love to talk about it. And that's my way of broadening my reach because now we're statewide, nationwide. I mean, this book could help somebody on the other side of the world. It could be global, really.
Right. Yeah, you know, that's beautiful. So what I want to, because you have witnessed a lot just being in that practice, you know, with the doctor that you were under there and seeing how you felt that possibly there was a gap in there. There was a missing in there for you. When did you say, okay, it needs to be a shift? You know, it needs to be a shift or a better way.
Yeah. So there is a major gap and that's everywhere. Honestly, we know that. I mean, it's everywhere. And so oftentimes the folks that are even trying to help these people out, then themselves, I mean, there was a gap. So like in this instance, that doctor, you know, he was a family practice doctor. So he's managing diabetes and blood pressure and someone's feeling ill. And so he's getting them started on antibiotics and doing annual physicals. And then he just had a couple of patients over the years because he'd practiced for 40 something years at that point. He just had a few patients coming through that were struggling. So he thought, well, you know, I'll look into it. And then he started kind of treating them, which is incredible that he did that. Very admirable. But even whenever I was in school seeing that, I knew there was so much more because I would ask questions on, well, what do we do with this? Well, what about that? And he didn't really have the answers. So I'm like, okay, there's got to be a better way, right? And so I did. I ended up jumping in with both feet, and you know, I became board certified in addiction. And at this point, I don't know if I'm an expert or not, but I'm pretty well versed in it, and I've helped a lot of people and learned a lot from it. And I think that right there can relate to anybody in any part of life. Look, if there's anything that you want to grow in, that you want to become better in, if you'll devote time consistently, devote time, right? Discipline, persistence, things like that over the weeks, over the months, over the years, it's incredible how much you can grow. And again, it doesn't matter what we're talking about. It can be anything that you want to become better at. I think that lesson applies.
Yeah. You know, one thing is what I do love just hearing this story. And in my mind, I'm thinking like, okay, we have the medical field and we have an emotional unattachment that we have with medical by just giving medication. And excuse me when I say this, because we're thinking that we're treating, but we're not doing a cureness, you know, of it. So it's a treatment. So it's like, where is the root of it? And what I'm listening to you is you're going to what the root of the problem is.
Trying to. So th- this again, it even leads back into the book. So the book title is The Recovery Tool Belt, because what I'm doing is giving you a tool. If you're someone that's struggling, I'm simply giving you a tool. Look, if all you've got a hammer, then everything's a nail, right? And so by having these tools, you can now approach something differently, more effectively. You can be more efficient. You can be safer, right? Because now you have all these tools. And so my approach whenever I'm treating someone at Renew Health or whatever, that's what it is. And I tell my patients, I'm like, look, I'm simply giving you tools, but guess what? It's
It's
on you to use them, right? I'm giving you this new knowledge. I'm giving you the explanation behind it. I'm giving you these prescriptions, or I'm giving you a referral to this person for XYZ. It doesn't matter, whatever the case may be. Then it's on that person to be active. They've got to take action and utilize that. Otherwise, we're just running in circles.
Yeah, I love that. That's what we live by here on the season of summer. Like truly, when I say this, Trent, I remember it was a time that I was talking and I give tools and notes and and I use my own life experiences as some of the examples of it. Sometimes not I haven't planned to do that, but that's just how God has intended it for, to happen. But I remember having this one conversation with the listeners, and I would say, you know what? We give these amazing tools. Monday, I have Dr. Will with me. I said, we give you these amazing tools. Can I ask you a question? Are you really using these tools? Are you really using these tools? I know they sound cool, but are you using these tools? And I remember getting a few back, was like, yeah, we use them. Okay, so how have your life changed in any way? Have you seen anything different from it? And here we kind of like pull back like layers of onions. Like I go really deep in because I am that type of why type of person. Why this happened. Needed to have an explanation, or better yet, going to the root in the core of it. Because when we talk about self-love, we talk about having that intimate relationship with ourselves, and that's going into that core of the being of who we are. So I even love that the renew part of what you have going on there is because we're not doing something totally new. We're just taking what you already have, what you've already experienced, and knowing that you've got tools from that. So I'm going to now show you how to use those tools. But then again, it's still your responsibility to use those tools. Yeah.
That's exactly right. So a quote that I love is that knowledge isn't power. Knowledge is potential power.
Mm.
Knowledge is not power, it is potential power. And so, meaning, hey, if you've now got this new information, this new education, this new knowledge, that's fantastic. That's awesome. But if you don't do anything with it, just like what you said, the tools that you're giving out, are you actually putting them to use? Are you actually utilizing it? And if the answer is no, it didn't do anything. And I would even argue that it's worse, because now you've got this newfound knowledge, these newfound tools, yet you're not utilizing those.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? What are you doing? Put that to work. And so, to acquire this knowledge, but then they take the actionable next step to actually progress forward. And again, whatever it is you want to do, I don't care what it is. For me, if we're talking about someone that's struggling with substance abuse, or if it's someone that's wanting to go out and start a business, or if they're wanting to gain a new skill set, or they're wanting to get in shape, you start with, you're Googling, right? Or you're asking Chat GPT or whatever people are doing, and you're getting this information, but then you've got to go put it into practice. And then that's how we progress. That's how we become better.
Yes. Last year, the end of last year, our whole theme for last year was the year of domination. That was the year. And we actually ended off with a 10-day, it was a 10-day book challenge. And we read Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life by Bob Proctor. That was the book that we had read as a collective, and I had a small group, and we did that because it was one thing that I learned about, and I'm going to ask you a question here in a minute, is about your old habits, the old things that you do, and that sometimes it's hard to come away from those things because you're so, and what I say is that it feels so common, it feels safe. And sometimes that unknowing is the unsafe. So one of the things that I love about your work, what I read, is how you challenge the old narratives around recovery. Okay. Can you talk to us about what it looks like to move away from shame and into grace-based healing?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that so much starts with our mindset. I think that if you can alter the way that you think, alter the way that you look at yourself, alter the way that you interpret the input, which what is the input? It's well, the way someone looks at you, the way someone talks to you, or the you see a commercial on TV. How do you interpret that message? Is it positive? Is it negative? What does it do to me? I think that if we can change that mindset, we can change our world.
Yeah.
And so, again, trying to move forward with being resilient or make a change for ourselves or not being so harsh on ourselves, right? I think we're all probably pretty good at
Yeah.
beating ourselves up. And if you can change that mindset, it's going to make life a lot easier. It's going to make life a lot easier.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I have three beautiful, amazing daughters, and one of my babies, my youngest one, she's 12, she'll be 13 soon, and we homeschool her, but she had locks. Let me tell you, she had locks just like me, long, pretty locks, and she was like, I really want to be done with my locks. I really want to do something else. As a mother that was raised that your hair is your crown, that kind of freaked me out just a little bit. That little old version of me came back with just a little bit. And then I looked at her face and I said, well, what? This is where she wants to create of who she is. She'll be 13 soon. So you have to give that ability to be able to find out who she is in the midst of all of this. And I just remember having a conversation with my husband about that because he just knew I was going to say no, like, no. And I told him, no, I have to show her a different way. You know what I'm saying? I have to show her in a way that it's okay to try something new and different going in. And I have to be that. We have to be that support around that, because what that does is it helps build her confidence. It helps build that negative self-talk that we've from people around us that give that to us. So we have to infuel her with that going forward. And that's one thing what I love about this podcast, because yes, I'll be here talking, but it be so many messages that I be getting, even from you, my guests, as I call my teammates. I get messages from you all the time, and I'll be like, okay, that's what that was. All right. And I get it. But the thing is that what you said before is now so now we got to do better.
That's right.
So yeah, for me, it's like, I know. So when my baby said she wanted to cut her hair, okay, that's fine. Let's enjoy that. I can't wait to see who you become through your own identity and not mine.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's all about the growth. I love that you mentioned that. It's about the growth. And look, sometimes we're going to slip up, we're going to fall, we're going to fail, we're going to make mistakes, we'll have regrets or whatever. But I think there is no failure for learning from it. That's how you grow. It's only a failure if you tried something and it didn't work out the way you thought it was going to. It's look, hey guys, it's never going to, at least not right off the bat. It's going to take some grit. It's going to take some persistence. But if we can learn from that, and then that's how we adapt. That's where growth and change really comes in. And then with that comes confidence. So yeah, I love that approach. I love that you just shared that.
Yeah. So let's get into some tools.
Cool.
I want to get into your book, the tool book.
Hey,
I just found out about it now. I wish I would have known about it before. But what are some simple, powerful practices that people can start strengthening their inner resilience right now? You don't have to give them all, just give a few.
Sure. Strengthening inner resilience. So look, I mean, first and foremost, if you're in some kind of if you're in a cycle, I was going to say cyclical event, but in this cycle, which can be, well, this is my habits, these are what I do, and it's so hard to break, to throw a wrench in that, right? To break that. And so I think that first is going to come the awareness that you're wanting to make a change. So awareness of that problem or that issue, even if it's not a problem, I don't want to put that in a box, but your awareness of something that is not going the way that you want it to. Cool. So for me, for my patients, it would be, hey, this is not what I want to do. This has gotten out of hand. Maybe at first it was fun or as a way to relax or something, but I now see that was 2 years ago, and it's kind of up here now, whereas it was down here. So awareness. And then what we've already touched on so much. Okay, so that's knowledge, right? But you've got to take the actionable next step. So what do? Well, you find what resources are out there. Look, guys, there's so much free information and resources out there, whether it's online in your local town or community, from a buddy or a friend that you have. There's so much out there. And then next, I think that if you've got a support system, look, you can lean on that support system if it's in a positive way. You don't want someone that is going to be negative or criticize you. Sometimes criticism is a good thing, right? We've got to be able to accept that criticism if it's positive reinforcement. But somebody that's trying to beat you down because they don't want to see you built up, look, that's not the kind of person we want in our life anyways, right? But then again, taking that next step. So now you've realized that something's going on, something is wrong. You've tried to tap into local resources, again, whatever that may be, to acquire knowledge, to learn more, to know more about it. But then again, you've got to put it into action, which for my patients would be reaching out to me, reaching out to Renew Health, or, even taking a look at this book. And look, I don't want to make it about me. I mean, this is for anybody, anywhere, in any scenario. So anyways, that's one approach. I could talk on and on about the book. I don't know how much you want me to go into. So this book really is geared towards someone that's struggling with substance abuse. I mean, that's why I wrote this book. So it's for someone that's struggling. It's for their loved ones, within themselves are not struggling, but someone near them is, or even someone that doesn't fall into either one of those categories, but they're seeing it in their communities. They're hearing about it online. It seems to be everywhere, and they want to kind of better educate themselves. And look, even a clinician, that doctor that I first got exposure to opioid treatment with, he could benefit from this book, because while he was doing a little bit of it, there's a lot that he wasn't doing. And so even clinicians that, like, if this is your specialty and you do it full time, you probably already have seen or know a lot of what's in here. But if you're primary care practitioner that maybe just has a few patients that come through every now and then, I think that there's a wealth of knowledge that you can learn in here.
Yeah. I love that. And thank you for sharing that. And this is about you per se. You are the guest.
Well, I just want to get the message out that
well,
I don't live in New Mexico, or there's not a Trent near me, or something like that. Like, hey, all of these lessons, all of these rules, all of these strategies, all of these techniques and approaches, they apply anywhere. I don't care where you are. That's the message I'm trying to get out there. But if you are in New Mexico, then heck yeah, we got you covered. Reach out to us.
Right. But it's beautiful. Even you writing a book to make where it can just go everywhere. One thing we talk about here is about having a ripple effect. Is having a ripple effect, throwing that, that little pebble in the water and just seeing how it flows. So even us speaking about the book, or how much we speak about it, it's still here. It's still a part of the tool. Even them listening to this podcast, that is a part. That's one step forward to getting to where you're trying to go, whether it's a message that you hear from Nyomi, or whether it's Trent, or what other guests that's on here that speaks your language that you can actually resonate with. I remember when I first started to get open up the show for guests, and I remember that I could be very honest, is that I said, I don't know how this is going to go. If the way my lingual, the way that I talk, is it going to fit with my guests that I have on? Because I've had doctors, I've had lawyers on, I have people from different aspects of it. And at that part of time, that was me. That was that old version of me that was creeping up to give me that doubt, whatever. And so everything happens for me in real time, and I share it with my listeners. But then when they come in, when the guests come in, we're actually speaking the same thing, but just in different languages. That is it, different language. So it could be somebody listening to right now and say, well, I don't understand what Nyomi said, but guess what? I got what Trent said, because Trent talking tools, and not tools like the tool. He's talking about a wrench and a screwdriver and a hammer. I can relate to that. Now he's putting it in the form to where, I can do it. And say if somebody played, like I played basketball and ran track, I can flip it that way as well. And so what we need to understand is that we have a universal language of understanding what self-love is. And we just have to have the opportunity to just be out there and just spread it and share it, and have the mindset to be open to listen.
That's right. You've got to be willing to listen. So, I mean, I'd really love to nod my hat, which I don't have on, but to what you just said. So starting the podcast, right? And there was this self-doubt, because you're about to venture out and do something new. But what'd you do? You took a risk, because there's no guarantee that it was going to work out. There's no guarantee people wanted to listen to you. There's no guarantee that they agreed with, your message. So there's risk, but you took a chance. Mm-hmm. You stepped outside of your comfort zone. You put yourself out there, right? Yeah. You're uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And then what happened? growth happened. And then now all of a sudden we realize, hey, you know what? We are speaking the same language, like what you just said, right? Or hey, even if we're a little off topic, right? If we're kind of saying a different thing, maybe we're trying to get to the same point, but we're saying it differently, but it's going to resonate with a listener that
Yes.
this way of putting it's going to resonate better than this way of putting it. So I think that's fantastic. And I often talk about the ripple effect. And then another thing I talk about is the snowball effect.
Mhm.
And when you do these things that we've talked about for the last 20 or 30 minutes, however long we've been talking now, and you put yourself out there and you try to better educate yourself, or you try to increase your skill set, whether it's a certain skill or gaining new skills, you do step outside of that safety net, outside of that comfort zone. All of a sudden you get more confident.
Yeah.
Your skills improve, you're better at whatever it is you were trying to do. And then that's where that snowball effect comes in. It just gets easier and easier and better and better. And then all of a sudden, all these positive things start to happen that seem unrelated. And it's all because you put yourself out there. And then you look back over a year and it seems so daunting, but you're like, hey, it's only been 12 months and look what happened. My gosh.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I see it all the time. I see it, daily.
Yeah, beautiful. So let me ask you this, because you mentioned about mindset, and this is where we really got to go, because we think about everything as the core, but this is probably one of the strongest thing ever, right? The mind. And I get this question a lot. I got it a few times from a few of my clients, because they say, Nyomi, really, how are these affirmations and journaling going to help me? Are they really going to help me? Like, are you just giving me this? So even with a community support help, how can explain, how do affirmations, journaling, and even community support, how can that help rewire the brain for healing?
Look, I think it's so important. I truly think that you can think something into existence, because if you think it, especially if you're writing it down, write these affirmations and you're thinking, and I don't mean once a week, I don't mean once a day. I'm talking short of being obsessive, right? You're just constantly, because it's going to change your thought pattern. It's going to change the way that you approach things. It's going to change the way that you think about things and how you're going to do something. And all of a sudden, you're changing your habits, you're changing your routine, you're changing your disciplines. And it just, like that snowball effect, it's just going to continue to compound. I think that the compound effect cannot be underwritten here. These little bitty tiny things, these little bitty wins build up over time, over and over and over and over. And then to take it to the ripple effect, right? It's going to bleed into other parts of your life and your spouse, your marriage, your kids. Now you're a better version of yourself.
Yeah.
And then guess what? You get to continue to build on that again tomorrow and tomorrow. And so anyways, by thinking that into existence, by having these positive affirmations, and journaling, I think is so important. I often tell my patients to journal. Again, I touch on this in the book as well, because you can reflect back on it.
Yeah.
And if you've got it written down, and especially if you've got a date, or you just know that you flip 100 pages back, you can see that mindset shift. You can see the change in your thought pattern, or you can see that it hasn't changed. It's like, okay, well, guess what? Now we have the awareness that the change hasn't happened. It's been 100 days in this scenario, in this example. So maybe we need to try something different. We need to introduce something different. We need to take something out. We need to, right? That way you can reflect back on it. It's just like when someone's trying to get in shape at the gym and they tell you to take before and after photos, because we don't see that daily change, right? We see it every day. You don't see your kids grow up, day over. Obviously, you're seeing your kids grow up, but every single day you don't realize. And then you take them to grandma's house that hasn't seen them in a few months. They're like, my God, you're huge. You've grown 2 inches. And you don't even realize it because you're with your kids every day. It's the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I love how you put that in, because people don't really realize that. They don't really realize how important it is to reflect. I think that's one of the most powerful tools that we do have, that honestly is free. Truly, that's truly free. Trent, what I want to say is that this conversation has truly been both grounding and very empowering for me. But as someone who myself, I've been through all kinds of stuff, amazing, but and also challenging. And I know that firsthand on how resilience isn't always loud. It isn't always loud in those quiet and consistent choices that just keep showing up. Now, you shared of many gems, but I want to ask you, what's one truth or lesson that you hold close when it comes to resilience?
A lesson when it comes to resilience. So here's one. Discipline trumps motivation, meaning
Mm.
motivation is going to come and go, wax and wane, right? We'll have ups and downs even throughout the day. Look, you're going to feel more motivated at certain times than others, especially when compared day to day or week to week or even month to month. Motivation comes and goes. And so if you can set in these hobbies, these habits, these routines, and stay disciplined on it, again, it's really easy to get your butt out the door and go to the gym when you're feeling motivated. Well, what about when you're not? And then if you skip one day, it's easier to skip the next day. And then it's easier to, well, you know what? I hadn't gone to the gym the last couple of days. So do I really need to eat that clean meal as opposed to getting some ice cream? And I'm just using this scenario as an example because, you know, it's a common theme for folks that are wanting to get in shape or look better or whatever. So if you can remain disciplined and push through when you don't want to, guess what happens? You just got stronger. Okay. Which is going to lead to that self-confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's going to be easier to make the right choice when the motivation's low. Because again, it's easy when motivation's high.
Yeah.
It is easy to do whatever it is you need to do when motivation's high. And there's all kinds of books and techniques about it. You know, there's the book, what is it? It's Eat the Frog First, or something that's from the Navy Admiral, where he's talking about, no, that's the one that's Make Your Bed. So, you know, you wake up and you do something that's uncomfortable and you get the hardest task out of the way at the beginning of the day. Because now, well, one, you've got the hardest thing out of the way, which was a win. And now you can get those other smaller tasks throughout the day. Well, an opposite approach is, even if you don't tackle the hardest thing first thing in the day, and this is where Make Your Bed comes in, you wake up, you make your bed. Maybe you didn't really want to because you're tired and you kind of didn't feel like it, but you did. You just got a small win to start your day off. And now it's easy to go get that next win. And then you do 2 or 3 of those that really only amounted to 5 or 10 minutes, but you've already got whatever, 2, 3, 4, 5 wins to start your day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to help psychologically with the motivation throughout your day, which again, to remain disciplined.
Yeah. You know, I love that. I'm sitting here thinking of a whole thing was like, how many wins did I get today? A whole, like, just if you created just a spreadsheet, not even spreadsheet, like do wins today, or, you know, possible, and just every win that you have and mark it down. That could even be a simple journal as that, just journaling
Absolutely.
that. How many wins? Okay, I woke up this morning. I love that. I fixed my bed. Okay.
I did this. And guess what? That's now the foundation that we have to move on, that we have to operate on that day. So our foundation's stronger, right? We're already starting elevated up here with all these wins. It's a lot easier to pop your head out, right? Versus you're way down here. But again, the awareness, the self-reflection, because look, guys, you may have already had several wins today, but then one thing happened and it's easy to forget those little things when really you add it up and it's like, that really wasn't that bad, you know, because I also did this today. So again, I think that's where discipline comes in. It's going to help with the motivation. It's going to help with perseverance and pushing forward towards whatever goal it is that you're aiming towards.
Right. Beautiful. I love that. I love everything that you said right there. So I want to go back to the book. I want to go back to your book. If it was one thing that that they can get out of it, if that's only one thing, what would that one thing be?
Only one thing to get out of the book.
Oh, I want to give you one thing.
Ooh, you got me spinning here. So maybe I'll ramble for a second while I'm thinking of one thing.
Okay.
So I very much wrote this book to, again, as the recovery tool belt, right? It's not just one tool in a tool belt. Ideally, you've got more than just a hammer in there. And so I wrote it to be a very easy look. It's not a hard read at all. There's not a bunch of big medical words. It's not a dry read. Again, that was intentional because I wanted people to actually get through the book. And if they could take away one thing, well, hopefully that could be life-changing or life-saving or something like that. Or, hey, you could walk away with 25 things. I mean, I don't know how many tools are in the book, but there's a lot for sure. Okay. So one thing that's in the book that I think relates to what we've already kind of touched on, it's chapter 6. It's healing with hobbies, habits, and interest. So even if you took away the healing part, and we only talked about hobbies, habits, and interest. So what that is, it's again, mindset. It's reframing yourself. It's changing your mindset. This book is meant to empower the reader because they've got to take action, right? And so if I'm not empowering you, if I'm not giving you those tools, well, then what action do you have to take? So again, guys, taking this knowledge, and the quote that I mentioned earlier is in the book, knowledge is not power, it's potential power. I talk about that because it really is. This is something that I don't just speak about. It's something that means a lot to me. I live it personally. And so if you go buy the book, first of all, thank you if you do. Second of all, if you do, I think it's fantastic because there is a wealth of knowledge in there. But if you don't put it into practice, then you didn't do much other than help Amazon out by purchasing a book, right? You've got to put it into practice.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I love that. All right, my beautiful people, this is a moment that we're going to do in the moment of us reflection. So I want you to ask yourself, what limited beliefs or emotional wounds am I ready to meet with compassion? And here's your journaling prompt for today. What are 3 ways that I can nurture my resilience today? It can be reaching out to a friend, sitting in silence, or choosing a new thought, or just simply resting. Every act of grace, it matters. It matters so much. Trent, thank you. This was a great conversation. It
Thank
truly
you.
was. Yeah. Your work just changing lives it's amazing. I commend you for it. I commend you for just looking, paying attention, sitting in your awareness and doing something about it. That's amazing. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thanks for what you're doing. I think that this is fantastic. And then to the audience, and guys, look, I'll leave with the one last little nugget. This limit that we put on our beliefs, it's self-imposed. I'm telling you, you can break through that, right? Just listen to the things that we've talked about, learning, acquiring new skills, but then putting it into practice. And then give yourself a time frame. You've got to stay disciplined with it, right? You've got to keep doing it. And then that compound effect will start to kick in. It does take time. It's not overnight, but I'm telling you, that belief of that ceiling that you've got, it's self-imposed. You can break through it, and then you can look back and you can be astonished at who you are compared to who you were.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you again, Trent. With your website, give them your website where they can find you at social media.
Yeah. Thank you. So I do have a personal website. It's thetrentcarter.com. You can find out about me. The book is on there. You can find out about my company, Renew Health. The company website is renewhealth.com. If you are someone that's struggling, or one of those loved ones that we talked about, you do know somebody near you that's struggling, look, there is so much information on that website. We have a daily blog that we post at least daily, if not twice a day. It's all free, of course. Just about any topic you can think of, we talk about on there. And it's all credible information. It's not just something that I've thrown out there that's my opinion. It's all backed up, okay? I'm telling you, there's something on there for anybody that's struggling. Socials, again, mine is the Trent Carter, or it's Renew Health NM, because we're in New Mexico. Renew Health NM, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all the stuff.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that. Again, thank you for bridging the gap, because that's exactly what you're doing. You're truly bridging the gap there. All right, to my listeners, I want you to remember this. I want you to remember that resilience isn't just about bouncing back. It's about building a life with intention, with grace, and with deep love for yourself. So I will see you all next week. So until then, keep loving yourself, all right? Have an amazing day. Have a good one. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovering and empowerment here at the Season of Self-Love podcast. Remember, embracing self-love is a continuous journey, and we're so glad to have you with us. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review. And don't forget to join our community on Facebook at Season of Self-Love. Connect with like-minded individuals who are also on their self-love journey. Now, if you have any questions or topics that you'd like for us to explore, we love to hear from you. Email us at seasonofselflove@gmail.com. and let your voice be heard. So until next time, take a moment for yourself today, and remember, you are worthy of love, joy, and all the beautiful things that life has to offer.